Put him down. Put him down. I'm not looking up.
3, 2,
Welcome back. It's the Agony of Positivity show for the week. I am Ross, joined by... I would do like a drum roll, but I don't have drums, and slapping the table. My setup is pretty fragile to begin with. How's your week going?
Pretty good.
Pretty good?
No complaints, I guess.
Oh, that's good.
No complaints.
Mine's been pretty good. I had to mow 3.5 foot tall grass yesterday for family. I'm shocked that my lawnmower that has never had maintenance done to it survived.
Sure.
I think at this point though I'm going to actually do maintenance to the lawnmower because it's earned it.
Or just buy a riding lawnmower, Ross. That's what you
there's no yard that I will ever be mowing currently in my life that needs a riding lawnmower.
That's why you can start charging people.
I cannot imagine a world where I choose to mow grass for money. I'm not going to say that it couldn't happen. I just can't imagine of all the things that I've done in my life, that would be very low on the, you know what, I'm going to start my own grass cutting business.
Sure.
Because I don't know what I'm doing. Like, you want lines? I can do like a square that looks like a maze.
Yeah, I would just tell people, like, look, I don't do the fancy lines. If you want the grass cut, I'll cut it.
Like, I can do straight lines that may show up, or I can go around and swirl to the inside.
Yes.
Those are your options. But yeah, it was pretty crazy. So much like pollen and dust and wildflowers and weeds that were basically like a tree. They were so overgrown.
Yeah.
How
long has it been since the family member had their grass cut in the backyard?
The backyard, it was well over 2 months.
Okay.
It's basically like he can't physically do it, and paying somebody for it. I didn't realize it was getting as bad as it was, kind of thing. So, but yeah, so mowing grass, got a little bit of sun, but not a sunburn. So, with the fair complexion, that's always a risk.
We've had a stretch of low humidity days, so it's actually hasn't felt like hell outside. Yeah,
I was shocked. From when I was like sick or whatever, I can't believe, because I mowed the grass there and did some like chopping down and stuff. Then came home and mowed my grass, and I didn't just collapse in a heap. So it was like, wow, I guess I am finally better. Let's see. So we got mostly a lot of wrestling news. Well, there's really like 2 pieces of wrestling news that seem to be a pretty big deal, and it feels like it's all but confirmed. Trying to think. So Blizzard is
wrestling. Is that what you're doing? Or
I'm thinking
Blizzard.
I don't really. So let's talk about video games some. We'll mention the Blizzard thing, but there's so many people who are going to go way more in depth than we will. I don't know that it's necessary, but let me hit our.
get over here! Time's up. Let's do this.
I'm pretty sure if you put Scorpion screaming "get over here" in front of anything, it just makes it sound aggressive. Like that bumper just sounds so aggressive. Like I just want to punch my monitor sometimes.
Get over here.
Yeah, Blizzard. If you're listening to us and you play video games, you probably already know about this. State of California did like a 2-year investigation into them for essentially sexual harassment, but it certainly sounds a lot worse than that when you read through it. There are some because there's sexual harassment, and then there's like people are deviants. I feel like it might be leaning more towards like not that sexual harassment's not bad, but if you had to pick what it sounds like some of the stuff going on there
Oh,
was versus your run-of-the-mill sexual harassment, I would take run-of-the-mill sexual harassment over some of the stuff going on.
Well, I mean, there's definitely a difference because I've seen guys that are basically this, I guess, male chauvinist pigs type thing.
Yeah.
Making immature comments and everything. And then there's deviant behavior that I've seen. I'm just like, this is borderline criminal right here. This is weird.
Right.
So there's definitely a difference.
Yeah, for sure. And it seems like, I mean, there's some of both, but it seems like there's bad stuff. So we'll see what that means for Blizzard. But they have had a rough, self brought, obviously, but they've had a few rough years with the publicity side of things. Unless you subscribe to the any kind of popular or any kind of talk is good talk.
I guess they should just get rid of Activision. I don't know if that's even possible, but
No.
yeah.
I think it would be Activision could get rid of them, but I do not think that they could get rid. Well, I mean, arguably, if you want to consider like Metzen leaving and some of the other founders who have left, that's kind of getting rid of Activision. They just don't get the Blizzard name.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, you can pretty much look anywhere you want for news or podcasts that talk about exclusively game stuff if you want to get more detail into that. But
Yeah.
the pretty serious stuff when it's the state and it's a 2-year investigation. And then one of the other things is like the Blizzard response was pretty entertaining in a way. Especially because I heard one.
What was their response? Boys will be boys or something?
I heard some people interpret it as they're trying to shift the blame or distract from what was really going on. But when you look at some of the things they're saying, like I think Asmongold was going on a rant, and he was like, they're going to talk about like they have procedures in place or things like this. He's like, look at their terms of service for their games. They can't even uphold those reliably. You think they're going to do anything for this kind of stuff? And I think he was kind of hot on it because there was one of the streamers, Swifty, I think it was,
Yep.
who had like an allegation against him when like all the speaking out stuff was happening, that an awful lot of people kind of came to his defense. And I think that was proven that it wasn't true.
Yeah.
But just on like
what I've heard,
I think on day one, Blizzard just cut him off, deleted his NPC characters that were tied to him in the game, all on an allegation. But then when there's the state of California with a 2-year investigation is going after them, they're like, oh, like it's basically like there's a kind of a double standard there. I mean, obviously they're going to be like, whoa, we're doing better. But I don't know. Again, there's people who have broken down like old tweets of employees and all kinds of stuff to get like real nuanced timelines and things like that. So yeah, there's all kinds of stuff on it. But I mean, you can't.
I think it's funny. I'm reading Forbes here, and they have an article where it says, without naming Activision, Bungie Entertainment issued a statement about claims of their reinforcement of everyone is welcome in their in their community.
I mean, there's the video game companies in general are just not doing good. Ubisoft, Riot, like everybody's had some allegations lately.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, what can you do?
Does that explain why all the games suck nowadays? Is that why?
Maybe. Maybe people in charge are too busy trying to get some or assert power over somebody.
Their frat boy ways is keeping the actual part of what you're supposed to be doing and making good games.
Yeah, which is all anyone really cares about. But yeah, so this sucks for people who are kind of tied to Blizzard because they're gonna if you look through like Twitch or anywhere, there are people like, oh well, everybody should quit there, or oh, you should stop streaming their games. And it's like, if you have a streamer who's getting like 500 viewers, but that's able to be their job because they're a a WoW streamer, they can't just switch games. Like,
because that's because majority of people they react to knee-jerk reactions and they run off by emotion.
Right.
And they don't think things through when they say stuff.
Right. Which, yes, in a perfect world, if it was so easy to be like, oh, well, I'll just play Final Fantasy and everybody who's watching me is going to continue to support me the exact same way, yeah, that'd be super easy to do, and maybe it would shake things up to where there had to be a change in businesses like this. But
Sure.
That's not the case. I mean, there's people who's moved across the country to work physically at Blizzard. I'm sure they're like, crap, I wish I would have taken that other job at somewhere instead of being involved with this now. But,
Sure.
it's not as easy to just quit. Like, we worked at pharmaceutical manufacturing. We knew that pharmaceutical companies kind of suck. But at that point, it was like, well, this is what we're doing for a living. And it, I mean, we kind of did just be like, oh, I'm done with this. But was that a smart decision financially? Absolutely not. So not everyone is going to do that.
It's true.
Let's see. So there is Pokemon Unite is the new hot MOBA style game. Have you played that at all?
No.
Did you even know about it?
No.
Okay. So it's basically your normal MOBA 5 versus 5. Different lanes.
What's it called?
Pokemon
Unite.
Yep.
Pokemon, there you go, Unite. Okay. As you read, I will read about it.
Yes. So it is a free download on the Switch. Supposedly going to come to mobile later on. It's if you've ever played like League of Legends, Heroes of the Storm, Dota, any of the other MOBA games that have come out over time, you'll feel pretty familiar with it. Playing on a controller it's never going to feel as good as a mouse, I think, for this style game. But the control setup, like, you don't have like a ton of abilities. You don't have a shop where you're like having to buy upgrades in the middle of it. It's all pretty straightforward stuff, but you get to play as Pokemon. Currently, I think they only have 20 at launch. So, I mean, there's so many Pokemon that I have never heard of. But again, like past like Generation 1, my Pokemon knowledge is pretty iffy.
So I'm watching gameplay footage of this.
Yeah.
I will never play this game. So.
Yeah, I mean, you're not a MOBA guy at all.
Yes.
So so I am not surprised by that at all. I like MOBAs, but I just hate the length. And then like Heroes of the Storm was good because it was a shorter game. And like League of Legends has like versions that are quicker, but I just didn't care for those. Blizzard, I liked the IP, like the characters that were involved because it was all the Blizzard people. So it's like, oh, I can play as the Lich King. That's cool.
Sure.
Pokemon, it was like, this is just a new game. I'll probably play it for a while. I don't foresee it being something where I'm like, yeah, I got to play this every day. But it'll be fun.
Has there really been a game like that in the past couple of years that's made you want to do that?
The closest I've had, like, since Conan was the last thing. WoW I played decently just because it was something to play.
Sure.
And then Hearthstone I'm real consistent with playing. Brawl Stars I play consistently still. But it's not like, oh, I'm going to sit down and put 10 hours into Brawl Stars today or Hearthstone. Hearthstone's more like, well, I'm going to eat. And it is super easy to make food and eat while playing a game of Battlegrounds.
If AEW comes out with a decent wrestling game, maybe that'll be the new game. Maybe.
I mean, if it's like, say it's Dead on No Mercy, but a little bit, better. I mean, I played that a lot, but it was more like I don't have anything to do. I'm just going to play for a little while.
Sure.
But I mean, honestly, like I've played a decent amount of Final Fantasy 14. Like it's still pretty fun. Like once I figured out how to play it properly, if that makes any sense, being able to level just different jobs, different classes, all with the same character. is really good because I have in that I'm not even close through like the initial gameplay, like a Realm Reborn, but I have like my Bard, which is Archer becomes a Bard, but you can get it's technically not an add-on, but it's a Bard music player, and so you can like actually play like actual songs in game as a Bard. Like it gives you like a keyboard, but this thing converts it and plays it for you. I've been trying to find the NWO theme and made into a MIDI file and just go around playing that. You have linked me something here.
I've
Muck.
watched.
I played this game actually. Muck.
Yeah, so I was watching Neebs Gaming do this, and I agree with what they said. This game is like a survival game on crack. It's just because you try to go. So you've played it, right?
Yeah, I downloaded it and I played maybe an hour of it.
Yeah.
It was fun, but it was super weird.
Well, they said it looks extremely hard because when you die, you die.
Yeah.
Everything that you've accomplished in the game is erased, which I don't know if I would like that or
not. What was it? Some kind of like sheep-looking creature killed me on one of my initial plays, and I was like, "What?" And then there are multiple times where I got myself into like trouble.
Yeah.
Because
so,
it's easy to do a little bit more than you should.
Sure. So I don't know. It looked interesting, but I probably wouldn't. I mean, unless you play it with me, I don't know if I would play it by myself.
Yeah,
it looks extremely stressful.
Yeah, like like the survival style games, I need that element to where I can just do something and not worry about like zombie creatures trying to hunt me down.
Yes.
Which I mean, it's fine, but I want to be able to avoid that if at all possible. I don't know if you can in this one.
Yeah. Like I have no problem. Like, I want a place where I can just, if I want to spend like 2 hours building a house, I can in peace. But if I wanted to go and fight stuff,
yeah, you can go down the road a little ways and find something to do. Yeah, I'm waiting because this still has like that same engine feel as like Conan or Ark or anything to it. Will someone please make a dedicated game engine for building style games like that doesn't suck?
Sure.
Because like that Grounded game, which you can get like if you have Game Pass or whatever, I don't think it's the same engine, but it's got that building element to it, and it feels way better. But it's a more like I didn't get super far into it. It felt very on rails to me. Like it didn't feel like as open and explore as I wanted it to straight away. It might get that way, but there's someone.
Exiles is right now clearly the best survival game in my opinion, just because of the graphics and it's the building is easy.
Yeah.
The problem is anything you build it disappears.
Yeah, you have
sometimes.
Object permanency is not necessarily a thing.
Yes. So
I'm looking through here real quick at Steam, trying to see. I'm glad that they've toned down the pre-order Steam Deck advertisement a little bit. Mm-hmm. I still hope that thing does well, but I mean, when you look at the history of everything Steam has made, from controllers to the Steam box or whatever they were calling it, to some of the other things, they kind of just like forget about it, and then there's no support. So
yeah.
That's obviously, I would assume, the fear here. Let's see. I don't think there's really much else. Like, I haven't played anything aggressively enough to be like, oh, I did this in a game. Like, Final Fantasy XIV has been like me playing through a Realm Reborn, which pretty much anyone's account's going to be the same as mine. Be like, oh, yep, I did some stuff. Cast some fireballs, shot some arrows.
Yes.
Let me see here. All right. So have you been... I mean, you got anything else for games, or...
No, I didn't have anything for games when we started. So.
Right. Oh wait, have you watched anyone play the New World game?
Other than what's his face? I forget the guy's name. You just said his name 2 minutes ago.
Asmongold?
I've seen him play it.
It doesn't look like super like if I could play it, like if for some reason they're like, oh here, have a beta key, I'd play it, obviously. But it doesn't really strike me as like, oh yeah, this is it. This is what I've been waiting on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've heard some people say that it's like the gear in the game is about as boring as you could possibly get. Like your local, if you had to gear at the local thrift store, it would be more exciting than the models they've chosen for the game.
Sure.
So I don't know. Here we go. So we'll move on. Watching any TV or movies or anything?
What have I watched? I watched The Cube last night with was it Kevin Durant as the host?
Hold on.
It's
Let me.
Something that could never
it's
ever
not bad.
possibly
It's
destroy us.
it's a game show host, a game show.
Oh, that's the
it was
one they
entertaining.
were hyping on Sammy's vlog, I think, constantly, where you had to like throw balls into the cube or something.
Yeah, I mean it's not that bad of a show. I at least I didn't think.
Okay.
And Kevin Durant is funny. So I think it's Kevin Durant. Am I saying it right? Is that who's in it?
I think that I'm not really sure. Let me.
I'm not much of a basketball person, so I don't know. But the Cube.
Dwayne Wade.
Wade. The Cube insults you as you play if you can't do stuff. So I mean,
Right.
it's funny.
Did you ever see? There was a show that had like the lady on it that was the host, and then like Saturday Night Live would always spoof it, where she was just super mean to the people.
I don't know.
I can't remember what it was called, but it was another one of those ones where like the spoofed version where she was just like super mean to everybody was way better than the real version. So
But
yeah.
other than that, I really didn't watch anything.
All right. Yeah, trying to think. I saw something. Oh, I watched Space Jam,
Oh yeah, no,
the
that
new
was,
one.
I heard it was kind of garbage.
You know, I was entertained by it. Like, now I'm not gonna say it's been a long time since I've seen the first one, so I don't know that it's better. But I mean,
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
If you go into watching Space Jam with LeBron James,
yeah.
I don't know what you're expecting. Like,
Are you saying you're not expecting a Academy Award acting there? Is that what you're saying?
I'm hoping to be entertained for the duration of the movie, is all I'm hoping. And honestly, my wife was like, "Hey, let's watch this," and I was like, "You know what? Fine, we'll see." I was like, I figured it would be so bad that I couldn't sit through it.
Yeah.
So it was like, you know what? Like, as it was going on, I was like, this isn't great, but it's not bad. There's some like pretty funny jokes here and there that I thought were good.
So, like, full disclosure, I did not like the original Space Jam.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I was reading some of the reviews, and everyone's like, "Oh, there's nothing. The acting is nothing like Michael Jordan," and I'm like, "Really?" Because I remember the Michael Jordan one; it wasn't that great either. So,
Yeah.
it's kind of like you said. What are you expecting
Yeah,
out of a
like,
cartoon?
I mean,
about,
honestly, you got War Machine in there, and he's probably the better character.
Yes, I
he's
mean,
like the AI. So,
I mean, I don't know what you're expecting out of a movie like that. So, yeah.
but yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, I don't want to say paint by numbers for a movie like that, because it is kind of a weird movie. But yeah, like, I mean, I laughed. I thought it was funny. The tunes were good. There's a point where they get turned into like the computer animated as opposed to like the traditional drawn cartoon.
Yeah.
And even the characters were like, "Oh, this is awful." So
let me do a scenario for you. If you and me are out, I don't know, just hanging out somewhere, and we come across a movie theater because we have nothing to do, and I'm like, hey, I haven't seen Space Jam. Would you see Space Jam with me again? Or would be like, no, it's all. Let's go do something else.
I would consider it.
I
would not immediately.
Does it get the Ross's second viewing approval?
Now, for people to understand, it could be like Shawshank Redemptions could be in theater, and I wouldn't go to the theater to see it again. So, like, it's an unfair situation. But yeah, if there was absolutely nothing and we had to kill 2 hours for some reason, I would consider it. Like,
Gotcha. Okay.
It wouldn't be like, absolutely not.
Yes.
Like, there's quite a few movies I've seen.
I would rather sit out in the parking lot and look at grass grow.
Yeah. You're like, I'll just roll around on the floor here until it's time for us to go. You go see it.
Yes. Gotcha.
Yeah. But, I mean, there's enough stuff that made me laugh where it was like, oh, that's pretty ridiculous. Porky Pig rap battles someone at one point.
Okay.
And I thought, like, it was just really absurd. So I thought that was pretty funny. And it was like, I don't know if you remember, like, around middle school age for us, where, like, all the tunes got a little bit into, like, the hip-hop style with, like, the vests and stuff like that. Yeah. All of a sudden, they morphed into, like, that with the rap battle stuff going on around them. And it was like, this is very dated look. But yeah, no, it was, I could see if you had kids or if you were like super into basketball and LeBron, like, I don't think you're going to be like, oh, we got to watch this once a year. This needs to be family tradition. But it'd be like, oh, gotcha. You know, like, you wouldn't feel like you completely wasted your money.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, all right. Should we get on to mostly AEW stuff this week?
Sure.
Here we go. Where is...
I don't know what the hell's going on here, folks. Looks like he's just wearing blue jeans. This is a revolution.
All right. So there's a lot of AEW news, and we'll get to that. But you had said something to me the other day through text that I thought was funny. You said you have watched way more WWE this week, or in the last week, than you have in a long time. How did that go for you?
So yeah, I watched SmackDown because I wanted to see Roman Reigns.
Right.
And then I watched Money in the Bank. And then I watched Raw. I didn't watch NXT because at that time I was just tapped out. It's not good, man. I mean,
well, and like you watched like the entire episode.
Yeah. So I watched all of SmackDown. I watched the entire show of Money in the Bank.
Right.
I was tuning in and out of Raw, but it was on the TV.
Right.
It's other than like Roman.
Yeah.
Doing 3 hours of just following Roman around. I don't know what. I mean, it's just boring. It's not good.
Well, so the things we talk about that it seems we both kind of like with AEW is there's like stories that at least are connected at times. You're not seeing the same matches a lot of the time. What was it that you didn't like? Trying to be constructive here as opposed to just like bashing it. So Roman was a high spot, obviously.
Sure.
What else did you think was good? I like the immediate silence.
Well, I mean, so Charlotte and what's her name?
Ray. Yeah.
Ray. Yeah. That was a good match. I thought that was actually pretty good.
Yeah, and that was on Money in the Bank.
That was Money in the Bank. Yeah.
That's when I assume that is when my Peacock started doing some kind of weird shuffling of just replaying like other moments of the show in between stuff. Honestly, I had fallen apart and woke up to that and thought my TV was possessed.
Roman and Edge was good. I enjoyed that.
Right.
That's about it. AJ and Amos.
Yeah.
Amos cannot wrestle worth a crap. I don't know why everyone is so big on that guy, because he reminds me of a guy back in the death of WCW. He's part of Raven's flock. Horse or
Big Reese.
That's it, Big Reese.
There's Big Reese.
Yeah.
You know, so sidebar here, real quick about this. I was reading something because I'll look through like Reddit Squared Circle a lot. A lot of the stuff is garbage there, but occasionally you'll get some like good conversations. And someone had posted a picture a while back of like 3 action figures, and they're like, I don't know who these people were, and I immediately knew. Like, one of them was Tyson Tomko, I think, who was Christian's problem solver, but his WWE run was not super long. And I went into it, and like someone else had already answered it, and they're like, it hurts me that I know these every time. And I was like, you know, I feel the same way. Every time one of these comes up, I'm like, please let me not know at least one of these people. But it never happens. Like, pretty much anytime sort of like, oh, I got this weird wrestling picture from like a long time ago, but a long time ago was like 2010. And I'm just like, oh man, how old am I? What am I doing with my life? And like, I just always know who they are. Same thing with Raven's flock, where like I remember everyone in Raven's flock. I'm pretty sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's who Amos reminds me of. Is that Big Reese guy? I mean, he's just big.
That is such a specific. So where do you rate? Did you see the Great Khali when he was in WWE?
Yeah.
So do you rate Khali better or worse than Big Reese?
The same, I guess. I mean, maybe Reese is a little bit higher up.
Today on Agony of Negativity podcast,
I would say Reese, just because the leader of his group was Raven. So I'll say Reese wins that one.
He gets the rub for being around. Yeah. So the first time I saw him wrestle was against New Day, when him and AJ won the belts. And New Day made him look pretty good. But like the whole match was centered around him, because like AJ started, and I might be a little bit off on this, but they basically built to where like he got the hot tag. And then he just destroyed the New Day, and that was kind of the end of the match or whatever. Sure. So he was definitely very protected. But yeah, there's what I saw at Money in the Bank, I was just like, this is not. And I don't know if it was just the Viking Raiders didn't know how to make him look good, because I have to assume, and I don't know this, but it was like, we're trying to make this guy into a big deal. He's a monster. It should be easy. Let's try to make him look good. And maybe they're just.
The good news is, if you enjoyed their performance at Money in the Bank, you got to see it again on SmackDown, or not SmackDown, Raw. I was like, we just watched this.
So it's been, because I mean, I don't follow WWE anything like I used to in my past, but I still keep up with it. Sometimes more than I wish I would, but it became so normal over the last like 3 or 4 years, probably longer than that if I'm honest, that you'll see like the same matches just over and over.
Yes.
To where it's like, so instead of a segment, like, so you're going to give them like a 6-minute match. Couldn't you give them like a 3-minute promo or backstage thing instead of the match? To further the animosity between them, and you've created 3 or 4 minutes for someone else to also get that, so that you can have like your lower guys have something going on, as opposed to just, hey, we're just going to spam this match over and over.
Well, and you know what's going to happen. I mean, because it's a typical WWE thing. AJ's going to turn on Amos or call him stupid or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you get rid of AJ, this dude is
going to be in a bad way.
This guy is not Sid. He's not Sid Vicious and Shawn Michaels. So
Right.
if that's what you're hoping for, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, like, I mean, he also doesn't have, because there's people who aren't the best wrestlers, but there's something about them that you're at least interested in them.
Sure.
Other than him just being a monster, and I just want to see him powerbomb somebody. Not double-handed choke slam.
Yes.
If I owned a wrestling company, no one would be allowed to do that move. Like, where WWE is like, yeah, we're not going to let people do pile drivers and stuff like this. They're like, all right, here's your banned moves list. Double-handed choke slam bomb, out the window. Axe kick, out the window. I don't care about most of the other moves. Everything else is okay. Those two moves in particular, no.
Well, and then he had Bobby Lashley. I mean, he just destroyed Kofi.
Yeah, poor Kofi. I
So,
honestly thought that they were going to, like, work to, like, a New Day triple threat.
Sure.
Like, I thought there was a chance that Kofi's going to win because it's, like, first pay-per-view with a crowd.
Yeah.
Austin Creed had beaten Bobby Lashley, who was the champion, so he kind of has a claim to try to get a title shot. Give Big E the briefcase, and they agree to do like a triple threat because, like, I think that'd be kind of neat.
Yeah, I think it would be. So I have no problem with Lashley being the champion.
Yeah,
But I'm like, I already know what's going to happen there. On Raw, he's going to go, I have no challengers left. Who's to challenge the Great One? And then Goldberg comes out. I was like, oh, yay.
that's what you want to see. So do you think Goldberg's going to beat him? Doing our little staticky thing here, just for the breakup there. All right, so we got Goldberg is going to be fighting Lashley. Do you think Goldberg is going to beat Lashley?
I mean, I would like to say no, but I mean, he did beat the Fiend, so
Yeah, if he beats the Fiend, he should be. Yeah. So, do you find that as the fact that Lashley, now, he's kind of ran through all the challengers, but not really. There's like a ton of people he could fight. But the fact that they're bringing Goldberg out for him to fight, do you, does that, like...
Well, let's start with, so the fans have been wanting, where's Keith Lee? Where's Keith Lee?
Oh, yeah.
And Keith Lee's been sitting out tweets, don't give up on me, guys. And then he comes back, and then Bobby Lashley just destroys him. I was like, oh, there you go.
So I did not see that match. Was it a competitive match, or was it pretty much Bobby Lashley?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he didn't destroy him like he did Kofi.
Okay. But
I mean,
why?
yeah.
So the question would be, people want Keith Lee. I think. I don't know. Maybe because we're like citizens of the internet, kind of, and we just recognize like, oh, Keith Lee's a good wrestler. He's kind of interesting. Like, maybe we're just biased. But
I'll just say that when his music played,
yeah,
he didn't get a big pop. I mean, everyone's like, oh, okay, Keith Lee's here.
I mean, it could be they don't remember what his music sounds like
It's
on
true.
the main roster.
Very true. Very true.
But either way, like, I mean, they were kind of building him. Like in the Rumble, when he went against Brock, it was actually kind of like a standoff for a little bit there.
Yeah.
And then he went away for a while. But I mean, him coming back to challenge the champion, I guess. But wouldn't it be better to have him come back and just have a match that he wins? I mean,
Yes.
I don't know. Again, I don't have my own wrestling company, but it seems like that doesn't really. I mean, does that do anything for Bobby Lashley to beat up Keith Lee? Not really. Does it do anything to help Keith Lee to lose? Not really, because you know they're not gonna like talk up. Be like, oh man, he had a really competitive first match back. Probably had some ring rust, but he really took it to Bobby Lashley, who's been one of the most dominant champions we've had. Like, are they going to play that up? Probably not.
It's because they go to NXT, and I don't know if McMahon's like. I don't know. I don't know if he's like
Triple H. This is what I think of you.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, it's your product. Why are you squashing your own product?
Well, yeah. So we'll get to Karrion Kross here in a second. But yeah, so he beats Keith Lee. I mean, depending on what they do from that, it might not be so bad. But at a glance, it's just like, oh, dude, that sucks.
Yeah.
But now he's going to fight Goldberg. I mean, you honestly, if Goldberg beats him for the belt, like, you can't be surprised. Which...
Yeah, but I don't think anybody wants it.
Well,
it's not because he's supposed to be the good guy here. No one wants him. I don't understand it.
I mean, there's people that will tune in to see him, but yeah, like, I don't know, like, I just don't know. Like, you either get beat by Old Man Goldberg, which to me seems like not a good thing. Like, Goldberg doesn't need to be around the world title to be a big deal.
So, yeah, I mean, so Goldberg and WWE, I can't stand. I was never a big fan of Goldberg anyway in WCW.
Yeah.
But the two-move Goldberg in WWE is boring. I'm sorry. I can't get into a guy who spears jackhammer. I
mean, that's
boring.
pretty close to what he was in WCW.
Yeah, but at least he threw punches and stuff. I don't know. WWE just...
Yeah,
all that you can do is spear, boy. That's one thing you can do.
Like, you're not... Well, I mean, understandably, he's not doing any crescent kicks, so... but yeah, I don't... Yeah, Man. Yeah, I think Goldberg is what turned me against WCW in the old days. Because I'm watching guys like Dean Malenko and Chris Benoit, and, like, people kind of react for him, but not really. And then people are like, Goldberg's the greatest wrestler ever. I'd be like, dude, no. Like, literal training dummies have a better moveset. Like, it just drove me insane.
Sure.
But yeah, so the other thing that happened is Karrion Kross, NXT champ, who's pretty dominant, gets rolled up, foot on the rope, pinned by Jeff Hardy in like 2 minutes or something.
Yeah.
So what is the purpose of this?
Especially since Jeff Hardy has been your whipping boy for the past couple months too. He's been losing all kinds of matches.
Yeah, I was reading about that where there was like an awful, like, he hasn't really been doing much. And then he beats Kross.
Yeah.
Who I'm not like a big Kross fan, but I mean, were they putting over that like Hardy cheated to beat him, or like was there any story on commentary?
I don't know.
Or was Michael Cole just like, what a maneuver? Oh my. Can you believe this moment?
It's just
quick. We need a few more camera cuts.
Quit, Pat. Get on the stupid table and dance and throw water on yourself. That's the other thing. That announcer, that Pat McAfee or whatever the hell his name
McAfee,
is.
yeah. Not your style.
That dude is annoying as hell. Which I understand that's his point, but
I have heard people, or more so red people, really like his announcing. The little bit that I've seen it's not for me. Now, people also loved Morrow, who I was not a fan of either because it was just nonstop screaming, it felt like.
Yes.
So I don't know. I mean, different tastes for different people and all that, but yeah. But yeah, can you come up with a reason to have Kross get beat by Hardy?
Other than make a point to Triple H, I guess. I don't know.
Right. I mean, you'd like to think that there's like a plan, but it never feels that way.
No.
So, not a fan of the announcing. Did you notice? Because I don't think you usually notice the camera cuts when it's going on, like as much as I notice it. But was that something that was?
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. The under the third rope cam.
Yes.
What? I don't understand that cam at all because that's annoying.
You had told me about that, and I actually turned it on to kind of watch it, and it was like, I can see a use for that camera angle, but I don't need to see like hammer locks in that camera angle.
Yes.
With 37 camera cuts between it to something else, where it's just like disorientating me.
Yeah, and AEW has their issues with cameras, but I'm just like, stop cutting so much. You're making me. You're going to give me a seizure here or something. I don't know.
There's AEW will cut on strikes a lot. Like there's a kick or a strike or a knee, you'll kind of get like a cut to a different angle. Usually for actual moves though, like there's not like, oh, he's got him blocked for a suplex. Oh, he's lifting him off the mat. Cut to 2. Oh, he's stalling for a second. Cut to 3. Oh, he's still stalling. Go back to 1. Oh, they're starting to go down. Hey, give me shaky cam on the impact. Like it's not that insane.
Oh, shaky cam. Yeah, I don't. Like I said, I sent a text to you. I could see WWE doing shoe cam there eventually. I mean, it's just camera. It's like what is wrong with the way you used to film? I mean,
well, something that I'm like. I have something else funny now that I remember it, but yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm okay if they're throwing a kick or something, you want to do a cut just in case they totally whiff and the person sells it. I think that's where the whole thing started in WWE, at least. So I understand like enough camera cuts to make it like kind of dynamic and whatever. But yeah, I don't need, because once in a while I'll notice like AEW's doing a few more than normal to where I notice it, but it's never what WWE does. And like there was someone put up something there, like they have to know that there's a group of people who can't stand this and they're just doing it more than usual, right? Like there's no way that
oh, you hate it? Oh, we're gonna do more of it. What do you think about that?
they're like one camera cut a second, and it doesn't even matter what camera, we're just gonna go to any of them.
I'm surprised heel bucks haven't done that. Oh, you don't like these camera angles? We're gonna do more of them. What do you think?
You're
about
like,
that?
watch this. Yeah, like where FTR has the what's it called? Like where you got to have the tag ropes for their matches.
Yeah.
Young Bucks start having like one camera cut every 2 seconds, no matter what. Oh man, that'd be. I don't think they could. They'd be awful. Like I just couldn't survive. So what else was your experience of watching 3 WWE shows? Like
I'm done. I'm not gonna watch them for a while.
Yeah,
just because it's just
like basically go back to what you were doing before, where if there's like a certain segment, you might search it out, but you're not just gonna sit through everything.
Pretty much.
There's the thing is they have people who are so good. Like
Sure.
I always go back to it, but Brandon Cutler and Peter Avalon had a feud where neither one of them had won a match, and they made that interesting in AEW. You can't.
Oh, I know.
You can't give me like Cesaro and Seth Rollins and something more interesting than them having like 47 matches over the course of a week.
Yes.
Like, come on, there's got to be a way.
Well, and I'm sorry, bringing John Cena back, it's not going to do it either. So,
I mean, people by and large. I was talking to my wife about this because she was always like a Cena fan, and it drove me crazy. And I was like, all the people that I know are the same people who were like sick of Cena, like I was, are now like, oh, I miss Cena so much. It's like, do you not remember why you didn't like him at one point?
No.
Like,
no.
I don't know. I mean, Cena is more, sadly, he is more interesting than a lot of the people, but he was allowed to be. So, do you remember?
I guess he asked China if he could come back to go back to WWE. I guess. Oh yeah, that's right, Cena. I burned you. What do you think about that?
Free Tibet. Do you remember the brief period? It was only like a few weeks, but I forgot all about it. Where on like WWE was going real heavy on the best 2 out of 3 falls, or they would restart matches because they didn't want there to be any wrestling during commercials. Yes. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
What a weird time that was.
Yeah.
It wasn't good, but I do like the idea of having 2 out of 3 falls matches, but not every match. Like, not to avoid commercials. Like, just no. That was awful.
There's so much things that WWE has tried. I mean, I give it to them. WWE is trying to find something that fans like. I remember the stupid electric chair that Sami Zayn did there for a little bit. I'm like,
well, that was Corey Graves did it. I think it was one time, and I think because Sami Zayn talked about AEW on it, they just never because I think Corey Graves said, "What a train wreck that was." It was never done again.
I mean, they're trying, but I don't know.
I mean, the thing is, because there was actually like some article where like WWE's trying to figure out how to attract fans or bring them back or something like that, and it's like, dude, it is pro wrestling. Just make it a simple. All you need is like the simplest of stories. Be like, it's not stupid, but like, oh, what? This guy did something that I don't like. We're gonna have a match. What are the stakes? There you go.
Well, the problem is they had characters back. They had good wrestlers back in the day. They could make good characters. Nowadays, maybe they do. I don't know, but
I just don't think people are allowed to do what they know they should do, kind of thing. I was listening to, maybe it was Jericho's podcast. He had Ryan Nemeth on, the Hollywood Hunk from AEW. I guess he was in NXT system and stuff like that for a little while, and then went and did some other stuff. But like, he was saying the difference with AEW, and this is the same thing we hear from everybody, is like WWE, if you do like a pre-tape segment, they've basically tell you exactly what you're doing. Like, hey, you're going to do this. And then in AEW, it was like, hey, you're going to be doing a pre-tape. And he was like, well, what am I doing? I'm like, whatever. It's like, so it's like, what?
Well,
like, it's like, and I assume it's like, hey, you're going to be fighting this guy on this show. So if you guys want to work that into it, or if you want to just do like a bit, take your pick. I think
that is some of the downfall for AEW.
Yeah.
Because I think, I do. Because I think, like the newer wrestlers, they don't know how to deal with that. They're like, what? Like people like Jericho and Cody, they can roll with that. They're okay, whatever. I'll make up something.
Yeah.
But like the immature, like not immature, but the unexperienced wrestlers, they don't know what to do with that, and it shows on their product.
So you're thinking they need maybe a little bit more bullet points, perhaps?
For wrestlers that don't know what the hell they're doing, I think they'd be like, okay, here's Arn. Arn's going to tell you how to do stuff here, or here's Malenko. He's going. I don't know. So,
yeah, I wouldn't.
And maybe they do that. I have no idea, but
yeah. Well, and some of it's like they might just be like trying to throw something to get something to stick that works for them.
Sure.
Because like, look at early Miro versus Miro now. Until he started going down the psychopath route, and the Lord gave him the knowledge to become the Redeemer.
Yes.
Like
my beautiful wife.
Yeah. Like, I mean, he was basically just like kind of doing stuff and like kind of fell into it. So it might be people are doing that, but I would rather, if I'm watching two things, I'd rather kind of watch something just be like, what is going on here? This is getting off the rails, but I'm entertained by it. Versus this is like I've had bread with more flavor than what I'm watching.
Yes.
Because like the Wingmen, for example, like when they give JD Drake ridiculous clothes to wear, apparently they don't tell him what they're going to give him and just let him react naturally. It's like, that's more entertaining than a lot of stuff I've seen.
Well, I like, Jake the Snake and Lance Archer. I mean, the goofy relationship. You're like, what in the world am I watching here? So it has its gives and takes.
Speaking of that, since we're going to talk about Dynamite, we'll kind of go backwards here, though. Lance Archer finally got his big win.
Yeah.
It's about time. Jake Roberts had some new snakeskin something, high priest shirt.
He disappeared during that match too. You notice how towards the end of it he kind of disappeared.
Maybe he was like, "Man, this is getting too crazy. I'm out of here. Forget
The
this."
snakeskin outfits get me too hot. They get back and taking this thing off.
Like, I'm gonna go get a drink. He's got it.
My only problem with that match was, again, it was 15 minutes, and the match before I could do without. They could just erase that match altogether. I didn't need that.
Right. I mean, I would argue like the Texas Deathmatch style where you're throwing big stuff at people. Yeah. I'm okay with it being shorter because you know, it's not going to take much of like that high impact to put you out. But,
sure.
Yeah, so let's see here. So we'll go to the beginning of the show. We got Spears and Jericho, the first labor of Jericho. Or I guess they're calling it Chapter 1 of the 5 labors of Jericho. Spears did... I saw a lot of people seem to agree with this. Like, this might have been Spears' best showing to date as far as just, like, the character and everything coming together.
Sure.
And he kept trying to use the chair, too. Like, it wasn't like one of those dumb ones where it's like, oh, you're allowed to use this weapon, and then you never use it. Like, he was constantly trying to use the chair. So I liked that. I mean, Jericho won, which I don't think was really any kind of a surprise.
I don't know. Some people on Instagram was like, I can't believe Spears lost this. It's like, well, did you think he was going to win? I mean,
like, there was a chance, a small one, that they might have Spears beat him. Like, I think there is a more than zero chance that Jericho doesn't make it through to all 5.
Yeah.
But no way. Like, I would have been super shocked if Spears just beat him.
Sure.
But yeah, so they set up number 2 for Nick Gage, which I am familiar with what he does, but I've not seen any of his stuff. But we're gonna get a hardcore match, is my assumption.
Sure. Yeah, I'm just like, okay, I don't know who this is, but everyone else seems to like him, so okay.
Yeah, like for that style, he's like a big deal, I guess is the best way to say it.
Sure.
They did Frankie Kazarian against Doc Gallows. I watched the match. It was an okay match, but I didn't really care. What really kind of mattered is the Kenny Hangman interaction.
Sure.
So, which people seem to like. But yeah, so we're going to be getting the elimination style match next week, it looks like.
Yep.
So,
which should be more entertaining.
Yeah.
Yep.
It looks like from the graphic it's going to be Silver, Reynolds, Uno, and Stu.
Also, Silver's...
It's going to be his first match back.
Cleared.
Yep.
Huh, okay.
So...
Johnny Hungy.
Yes. I should hate the whole Johnny Hungy thing, but there's something about John Silver that I can accept that he's just a weirdo sometimes.
So
and it's okay.
This. Johnny Hungy is okay for BTE. Johnny Hungy would be terrible for Dynamite. I'll say that.
Which it very seldom shows up on Dynamite unless they just kind of reference it. But yeah, like... I mean, he does like the weird flexing and all that stuff, but to be fair, if my arms and shoulders were that big, I'd probably be flexing all the time too. This is something that kind of, they talked to like Brian Cage backstage about the whole Team Taz thing, and this is one of those ones where it was like, this just wasn't a good promo. I mean, it was super short, but it was like, this, I mean, other than like acknowledging that he's not forgotten about next week, whatever.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's Team Taz. I mean,
right.
It's really hard for me to care about Team Taz because,
they're in like a weird spot that it's like, I want to like it, but it's just like I can't care at the same time. Like, if that makes any sense. Like, I care and I don't care. Let's see here.
Speaking about things I don't care about, this next match.
The Wheeler Yuta and Darby Allin. The match itself was good. Sadly for them, the true moment was when Sting and Orange Cassidy. Like, because I'm watching it, and I'd love to have, like, when you get, like, the thought voiceover from somebody, like, of Darby, like, looking outside and seeing this interaction, to be like, what is like, I'm in a legitimate match here. What is my mentor Sting doing here?
If I was thinking about, hey man, I'm doing my own thing. You just worry about your own self.
Yeah, be like, you take care of Wheeler. I got Orange under control out here. My favorite,
me and Orange is playing patty cake here.
my favorite thing is, like, Sting started the fight technically because he kicked Cassidy first, but then when instead of doing, like, the full on chest pound, he just did, like, the real lazy version of it.
Yes,
I thought that was great. So
it's funny because it kind of reminded me. I don't know how much you watch of Joker Sting and Impact.
I've seen a few clips to get, like, the feel for it.
That's what it kind of reminded me of. Him and Orange here was Joker Sting. So
Yeah, him just, like, him realizing how ridiculous something is and just rolling with it.
Yeah, so I thought it was funny.
Would you be opposed? There's no reason for it to happen, but I could see someone like Sting wanting to do it. Sting versus Orange Cassidy. Is that a match that you would want to watch?
No, I don't want to watch that.
No desire to? I would like to see it because
what I got is on Dynamite is what I want. I don't want any more than that. Yes.
I would be okay if them having, like, a fairly short match. Like, I don't need, like, 10 minutes of Sting and Orange Cassidy, but just seeing Sting deal with Orange Cassidy's antics, I think that'd be fine.
Sure.
So Blade knocks Orange Cassidy out again at the end of this thing. So women's match, you had texted me, not the greatest dance partners here.
No.
Like, something was just off.
Especially not after WWE can do a really, really good women's match.
Right.
And then seeing this thing, I'm like, ooh.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, we've seen really good women's matches on Dynamite too, but I mean, Britt gets her title defense and her victory over Nyla, but yeah, it wasn't the greatest thing ever.
I think you said I've seen more punch. What'd you put for, like, a bar fight or something like that?
I've seen it was like smoother moves.
Yes. Smoother connections in a bar fight than what they just did,
Which I've seen, like, a real life battle royal at a bar. Like, I lived, like, next to a place that was a super crappy bar, and there was no joke, like, a 10 to 15 person brawl one night.
Yeah.
To where, I mean, it was like, this is a real life battle royal, and it looked more succinct than some of the stuff going here. And this one,
hey, this just in. So this is breaking news right here.
Oh.
Major League Baseball, the Cleveland Indians are no longer the Cleveland Indians. They're called the Cleveland Guardians.
That's fine. Like, sure, I mean, with the Washington Redskins thing, I'm not surprised.
I'm not a fan of either one. So yeah,
at least they picked a. I like that. On one hand, I like where Washington was like, we're just the Washington football team, because that's, like, super generic. I appreciate that Cleveland at least was like, let's come up with a name. Like,
sure.
Let's see here. FTR and Santana and Ortiz. Their little press conference. This press conference was weird. Like, I mean, at least everybody was, like, super intense, but it was weird that, like, Santana starts bringing out, like, pictures. And then, like, FTR just doesn't address, like, I don't know, like, it just seemed super weird.
I don't understand that. Well, I guess I do understand it. It's just like, yeah, we're just as bad as you are. We're from Carolina, and they're like, no, we're from New York. I'm like, who cares? I don't know.
If you're from New York, you probably care. If you're from the Carolinas, you probably don't care. would be my guess.
I guess.
I mean, either
Yeah,
way, like, I just
maybe.
want to see him get in the ring because it'll be good. But,
Sure, yeah.
like, I like what they're going for, but I don't think FTR are real life dirtbag people to make this storyline work. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, so like you said, I understand why Ortiz and Santana is getting mad at FTR. I don't think it comes across enough to where FTR is like, they know that it upsets Santana and Ortiz, so they need to keep pushing. Like, no, we're just as bad as you are. We're from North Carolina or wherever they're from. You know.
Yeah, it seems like they. Yeah, it's not like a mind game tactic. It feels like, I don't know. Like, again, it's going to be good in the ring, so I don't really care. And they're getting across that they don't like each other, but yeah, it's missing a little bit for me. Let's see. So Andrade brings out frickin' Chavo Guerrero, which I did not have in my pool of possible things.
This whole segment, it just, I don't know, man. It just seemed like, I don't know. it didn't seem they knew where they were going with it.
Yeah, I forgot. Like, Chavo is really good at talking, and I think Chavo is always overshadowed by Eddie. But like, I think he'll be a real good addition. I like that Alex Abrahantes was ready for a breakdance battle based on his clothing.
Yeah.
And he got super into the Penta Says for this.
Which is fine, because he translated for Penta.
Yeah.
Andrade, his accent is very thick. And
Yes.
I was having a hard time understanding what he was saying. And I think Chavo recognized that. So Chavo's like, all right, so here's what he's basically saying here.
Right. Well, and I would guess live you might get a little bit more reverb or echo.
Yeah.
And it's probably harder to say. I'm trying to tell, because I've heard Andrade talk, like in interviews, and his accent's not that thick. Yeah. I'm wondering if that's like an intentional thing that he was trying. Or if there's just like, if he's more casual about his talking where he's just saying whatever, like maybe he needs a little bit more focus to, like, I don't know what it is, but either way, if Chavo's going to be the mouthpiece, I think they'll be fine for sure.
I think it's better for him to be in there instead of Vicky. I don't think Vicky ever really worked that well with Andrade.
Yeah, there's not. I don't know. Like, she can be around. Like, they can be affiliated. I think that's fine. But yeah, she doesn't need to be there. So
it seems like Andrade is going to build like a bloodline storyline. Roman Reigns. That almost seems like.
Could be. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like, he feels all over the place. Like, he just needs to have some good matches. Give me some. Like, if he gets done fighting Penta, Phoenix, and Pac, it'll be like, oh yeah, he can keep up with those guys. I'm pretty sure won't be a problem. And then kind of build out from there, I think. Or
speaking of guys I feel sorry for, Christian Cage getting teamed up with
Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. I did like that Jungle Boy's contribution to this promo was to sit upright and then put his hand on Christian's shoulder.
Yeah. It looked like Jungle Boy was posing for like a magazine or something. It just looked weird.
So big news coming to AEW. It sounds like, and I want to throw this here because I saw someone suggest this and I thought it was hilarious. So there's an awful lot of talk about CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, to the point where there's always been rumors about that kind of stuff, but this sounds way more solid than things we've heard in the past. And like you sent it to me, and then we figured it out. CM Punk had posted what the Bulls used at one point as the intro music. So he's either just trolling people, which is very possible, but usually he just doesn't say anything or just is like, no, it's not me. kind of thing.
He normally just doesn't acknowledge it.
But with this one, and it seems like it would be an intentional leak at this point, because like nothing official, but there's a lot of hype around it.
It seems like they're like, hey, I'm not saying that CM Punk's gonna be a part of AEW, but I'm not saying it either.
Yeah. Well, and like the people that would typically know are, now this is people like, you know, really analyzing how people say stuff, but I guess it came out that what's his name? Shoot, I can't believe I forgot his name. Meltzer.
Oh yeah.
He knew like that Brian was going to return, but like kind of kept it quiet. Like he didn't actually report on it, but he knew about it, so he was ready for the story as soon as it finally came out, like that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
So they're like, oh, he knows by the way he's talking what's going on. But yeah, there's like it seems like people are like, yeah, the person who said this is legitimately connected. So there could, like, from where the whole thing came apart. So obviously
it sounds like.
Go ahead.
It sounds like it's a purpose leak to build up All Out, because I think All Out's going to be like AEW's WrestleMania.
Yeah. Well, and it's crazy because it's already sold out, I'm pretty sure. So I mean, they've sold out. Well, they're very close to selling out the Arthur Ashe Stadium show with nothing announced for it. I know they were like, I think they were at 15,500 or 16,000, and it's set up for 17,000. So with nothing announced, they almost have it sold out.
I mean, and I've sent you texts. I'm not a big fan of CM Punk.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen his old stuff. I don't get it, but I understand people like the guy.
Yeah.
I would, if I was AEW and he is coming back at All Out, I would give him a 20-minute set, because that stadium will go nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, it seems like that would be the place to do it, unless he's going to be a heel and he's like, yeah, I didn't come out in Chicago and I'm not CM Punk. I'm Phil Brooks. You all killed CM Punk.
Yeah.
Like one of those things, which would be fantastic. But yeah, whatever. Yeah, so there were people who were like, oh, yeah, they have CM Punk and Bryan both show up. Kind of like the Outsiders. They're like, well, who's the third man? Well, it's Hollywood Jack Perry.
Sure, I guess. He would have to go do some acting classes, because I don't see him doing promos that well like Hogan did. But
well, here's the thing: you got CM Punk. Promo wise, CM Punk is going to be fine to do the promos for the group. Brian,
true.
Brian's a good promo too, and he's the better in my opinion. He's better in the ring between the two of them. Jack Perry is fine in the ring. He just has no character.
Sure.
But yeah, obviously, I would hope they wouldn't do like an NWO thing, but the comparison would be really hard to avoid.
Sure.
If you bring them both in, because you could, like, I don't know. So if you bring both of those guys in at the same time, or within like a couple months of each other, if you're running the company, do you put them as a team if they want to have them go up against like the Bucks?
I don't know. Because they're not known as tag team wrestlers, are they?
I mean, Brian was in a few tag teams. Punk, not so much. But I mean, like, it'd be pretty easy to sell them. Yeah. Well, I could see, because Punk said that, like, he's more interested in story than money. So, I mean, they have to have finally, they either gave him such a ridiculous amount of money that he couldn't say no, or they actually came up with, like, a creative thing for him that he was like, I can work with this. This could be really good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know it can't be for money, because WWE is going to be able to outspend AEW if they so desired, you know, just because WWE has so much money.
Right.
So.
Well, but the thing is, like, he was saying he didn't want to do like matches he's already done. Well, that's WWE's specialty.
I don't want to wrestle AJ Styles 50 times in 1 month.
Yeah, can we please do something different?
Maybe.
Yeah, no, we're here. I was doing the static radio bumper again since.
So anyway, it's a long story short. Yeah, I guess. I mean, it'd be neat to see Danielson or the Dragon or whatever
American
it's called.
Dragon.
And CM Punk.
Have you ever thought, like, because he goes like, it's Bryan Danielson was his name, and the WWE had him, and they're like, how about you're Daniel Bryan instead? Like, talk about a name change just for the sake of a name change.
Sure.
Like, that's super weird to me. All right, so back to like current stuff, but yeah, like that's big stuff going on. But yeah, I just thought it was hilarious that Hollywood Jack Perry as the third man for a new NWO.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know who you would actually pick for it if they were to go that route. I kind of think they won't, because there's no way you're not just going to be an NWO ripoff at that point.
Yeah.
Although
we already have one of those. It's called the Bullet Club.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good formula, but I mean, if they just stuck with like a trio with them, like Punk, Bryan, and maybe Moxley or somebody, like where they're just a trio, and then you have like the trios belt finally show up or something. But I don't know. Have to keep an eye on it. Like, it seems like it's really going to happen, but until I see it, it's hard, or they officially announce it.
Sure.
Yeah, but so we got that. Orange Cassidy and the Blade. The only thing that stuck out to me was at the end of it, because like Cassidy's been knocked out by the Brass Knucks like a half dozen times.
You're just gonna skip over QT Marshall, aren't you?
Oh man, yeah.
That's fine.
I'm going to tell you, I'm not the only one.
Anyway,
yeah,
back to important things.
Yeah, but like, so Cassidy wins the match, but then what kind of isn't a good guy move, but I liked it, was he picked up the Brass Knucks even though he had already won the match and just laid Blade out.
Yeah,
I do like that there is the element of Orange Cassidy is willing to do a little extra work for some revenge. So
sure.
And I mean, he pretty much like started the match like legit. Like, he didn't do like the normal stuff for this. So
sure.
All right, but yeah, we briefly talked about it. But yeah, Moxley and Lance Archer. Yeah, I mean, I almost thought there was no way that Archer would lose this one, but then I started to get worried.
Sure.
I like the liberal use of a fork. But yeah, so what about I can't remember his name and I don't know how to pronounce it. Haku's son.
Yeah, we'll just say Haku's son. Yes.
Yeah. That dude is tall.
Yeah. Now, do you think he'll win and bring it back to New Japan? Or do you think that they want large? Because everyone was saying, how could AEW let Archer win? I'm thinking, I don't think AEW has any say on who wins a New Japan belt. That's New Japan's decision, I think.
Well, and like, even the story they told, like, Moxley was like, because he beat him for the belt, but then he had the world title match against him, and he was talking, he was like, you don't necessarily beat someone like Lance Archer, you survive them till the next time. And then this time he was like, I know Archer's I'm just gonna keep seeing this guy. Like, he's always gonna be a force. I gotta do something drastic here. And then Archer was like, you know what? It's really hard to beat someone 3 times in a row when you fight them 3 times. He was like, and I can tell you, I'm not, like, the story was there that Moxley viewed Lance Archer as a threat. Lance Archer knew that he was capable of beating Moxley, kinda, and then like, it was just a matter of time that it would happen. So, I mean, big deal for Archer. Crazy to see a New Japan belt change hands. but like Archer is kind of like a New Japan guy.
Yeah.
I don't know what's with AEW and hiring all these New Japan rejects. They're like New Japan light.
Yeah.
But yeah,
because Lord knows you can't go anywhere else when you're a wrestler.
well, once you've worked at one company, that's it. It's over. If you go anywhere else,
It's funny because you get WWE fanboys that say that all the time. Oh, AEW is just WWE light, and everyone's like, just like WWE is kind of like Impact light.
yeah, I mean, or Ring of Honor light, or whatever. Yeah. I mean, there is a tipping point where it's ridiculous. Like, yeah, if Christian would have came in and won the world title by now,
sure.
Yeah, there'd be some criticism. Christian came in, mentioned that he'd really like to fight Kenny Omega, and it still hasn't even come close to happening.
Which is how it should be. He's in the bottom plane with Jungle Boy and Lucha, whatever his name is.
Luchasaurus.
Yes.
And kind of making fun of Marco. In a roundabout way, which honestly endears me to anyone.
Sure.
When Haku's son got in the ring, like I think even JR was like, "Daggone, he's big." And I was looking, I was like, "Man, he's taller than Archer." I did not realize, because I don't think Haku was that tall. Although he was like constantly around like Andre the Giant, so my scale. That's
sure.
like. I've told the story a few times, but we snuck down one time. There was a Shotgun Saturday Night taping after a Raw that we went to in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And Undertaker fought Bret Hart. And Bret Hart was walking around the outside of the ring. Like, we had been able to get down and get, like, standing at ringside to watch it. And Bret Hart walked by, and it was like, holy crap, he's big. And then Undertaker came out, and I was like, oh, my God. He's huge. Like, because Bret Hart next to the Undertaker looks like a normal dude. Bret Hart next to a normal dude is jacked.
Yeah, because I went to a house show for WCW once, and I saw Kevin Nash come out, and I'm like, my God. I mean, I knew Kevin Nash was tall, but seeing him in real life,
it makes it like totally crazy. I mean, like to your question though, I could see him beating Archer for the belt to get it back to New Japan, but I could see Archer having kind of like the Moxley Jericho deal too, where he can work in New Japan because that's kind of his home, and then eventually get to where he goes over there and loses it to somebody, or have him do a few defenses and then lose it to a legitimate New Japan talent.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting.
But, I mean, I have to assume though that this has been good for New Japan, because there's got to be people who have no idea about New Japan. Like, not a lot, because I think AEW is a totally different fan base style. But I mean, there's definitely more eyes on New Japan, I would think.
Well, I've heard, and it makes sense, because New Japan's doing something in August, I guess, in the United States, and that's why Jay White is in Impact, and maybe why this Bullet Club guy is in AEW. They're just trying to get buzz around their American show, I guess.
Well, which is good though, because like if AEW and Impact are both like, yeah, we'll help you out, but it helps them out too, like, because you're probably going to get, like, I'm sure anyone who follows New Japan, if they're like, oh, Jay White's a big deal over here to hey, he's on some other show, hey, let's check that out.
Exactly. So yeah.
But all right, do you think so the Cincinnati area is kind of close to us? Do you have any desires? Are you going to try to get tickets to the AEW Dynamite show?
I don't know. I mean, I would like to go, sure.
It's just dealing with a giant crowd.
Just dealing with idiots. That's the main thing. Because I remember going to a football game once and just dealing with this wackadoos. Just like people are way into it and they get drunk.
Yep.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it makes me want to, because I mean, it might be sold out. I'm pulling the information up now. It's the show after All Out.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to be like a big show.
Sure.
But like, man, I hate crowds. like
well,
holy moly.
It's like, so when Dynamite goes off air, I can just go to bed if I so desire.
Yep.
I'm not going to bed after Dynamite if I go to the show in Cincinnati because I'm going to be driving home in traffic. So,
Yeah.
wow.
I'm trying to see. So it says I clicked on best available tickets, which would be section 103, row 2. It'd be like $160. But so the University of Cincinnati does not have. It doesn't show you the stadium layout. Like you have to look that up separately.
Nice.
Yeah. So, because I saw someone was like, "Oh yeah, you got to do this to do it, like to get the layout." So yeah. I mean, I'd like to go, but I don't think that I will. Just because one, like the home experience is fine for wrestling, but.
Yes.
Now, if AEW had like a house show that was a smaller show that was in the area, like I would definitely go to that. I think that'd be fun. But yeah, fight traffic in downtown Cincinnati.
And possibly get into a real fight just because some drunks doing,
Yes.
It just ain't worth it.
Well, I feel like I'm way less likely to get into a physical altercation than you for some reason, because you just seem to. People are drawn to you sometimes, it seems, that are surly. I don't understand it.
I'll just be sitting there watching the show, and some drunk will spill beer on me, or something. I don't know. It just target me.
All right. Well, we will call it here. Hopefully next week, maybe there'll be some official news on the Punk Bryan thing. Or we'll be talking about how amazing Hangman and Dark Order getting their title shots is going to be. We'll have to see.
I don't think it's going to happen.
No, you think they're losing?
I think so. I don't know. I don't know.
It's hard to say.
It'd be interesting. It's hard to say.
We'll find out. All right. Outro button, go.
Have a good week.